The Seth have invaded our world, and humanity's last hope is profit. But when the greatest tactical combat machine fails, what do we do then? Simple. We send in an even greater tactical combat machine. Megaplex, begin boot up sequence.
Nanosuit's boot up sequence commencing. Now profiling new user DNA. Sir, are you sure about this?
Of course I'm sure, Megaplex. If I don't accomplish my mission, the entire world is doomed.
But the suit, sir. It's symbiotic. It may never come off.
Well, that's a risk I'm willing to take. Bring it online.
Very well, sir. Nanosuit 4.0 is now online. Now displaying Tactical HUD.
You know, Megaplex, this Nanosuit 4.0 looks really nice. Although, I look like I'm from Men in Black.
Does that really matter?
No, I guess not. Okay, here we go. Maximum strength.
Maximum strength.
Open. Greetings, members of the collective. I am Sai from Cyborg Gaming, and today I am here in my nanosuit to review Crysis 3. The plot begins in New York in 2047, 24 years after the events of Crysis 2, where Prophet is being held by Cell in cryostasis. And not bad. 5 seconds. It takes serious skill to screw a story up that fast. But Psycho, one of the nanosuit soldiers from Crysis 1, breaks Prophet out and helps him escape the Cell holding facility. There we find out that Cell has used a Ceph device to get unlimited power, and along with ruling the world through debts, has built the so-called Liberty Dome over New York City. And Psycho, having been torn from his nanosuit, is now part of a resistance fighting to topple Cell and free the world from its tyranny, and they need Prophet to assist them with that. Good God! The amount of retconning and corner-cutting of established canon in that plot is astounding. First of all, what the heck happened to Alcatraz? There is not a single line of dialogue in this game that explains why he calls himself Prophet, or why everyone refers to him as Prophet. Is Crytek just putting their hands over their ears and pretending Crysis 2 never existed? Also, how did Prophet end up in cryostasis? Well, unlike Alcatraz's disappearance, they actually explain this at the very beginning of the game in a couple very brief sentences.
Remember those guys who shot you full of K-bolts in Siberia? The guys who had you in lockdown for God knows how many years? The guys who tore the nanosuit from my flesh? The guys who were gonna do the same to you? Cell? Those guys.
What? Are you shitting me? So you're saying that not only did Prophet manage to get to Siberia, but Cell followed him there and took him down? There is no way Cell could win in a fight against Prophet. Saying that Prophet was taken down by Cell is like saying that an exterminator was defeated and taken hostage by the rats that he's there to kill. And, if Cell had enough time to rip Psycho out of his nanosuit, why didn't they skin Prophet, whom they've had in captivity for 20-something years, and is a considerably larger threat? That's like the rats putting all their focus into killing the cat instead of the exterminator that they, through some miracle of God, have managed to bind and gag. And, hello? Why did all the Ceph just sit patiently twiddling their thumbs while Cell built the Liberty Dome above their heads? That's like the cat not doing anything while the rat's trapped in a box. And Christ, if I keep using these mice analogies, my review might spontaneously turn into a sequel to Animal Farm. What the heck happened, Crytek? I mean, Crysis 1 and Crysis 2 weren't exactly the kings of story, but they weren't this. I mean, trying to build a game around that plot isn't even like trying to build a house on a rocky foundation. That's like trying to build a castle in a swamp.
Well, the king said it was daft to build a castle in a swamp, but I built it all the same, just to show him. It sank into the swamp.
Congratulations, sir. You have just received your foot merit badge for using your first Monty Python joke.
Yes, fantastic. Now, all I need to do to get to the next rank of the reviewing scouts is to use a completely unfunny meme. Here.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
And I know a lot of you out there are looking at me like I've gone insane. Who cares about the story of a game as long as it leads its way for some interesting enemies, immersive battles, and an awesome ending? But the thing is, characters in this game are fairly well done. Psycho has a fair deal of emotional baggage he carries with him the entire game about not being in his nanosuit anymore, and he's hunting down the person who pulled him out of it. And yes, that is basically just a standard revenge character arc, and if you don't see the cliche double cross coming, then you probably need help putting on your underwear in the morning. But even if it's cliche, it's still well done.
Show me your face. You cut me out my fucking suit, now show me your face!
Cycle, let's go!
Prophet, he's having a very sensitive moment right now.
I will find you. I will fucking find you!
Oh.
You're awake when they cut you out, you know. A lot of the lads died screaming. Their hearts gave up from the shock.
Well. Fun stealth action game suddenly turns dark. But, fine. A lot of you do not care about the story in an FPS game. I accept that. So let's move on to something your average Xbox playing Call of Duty / Battlefield gamer will care about. The graphics. Crysis 1 was, and still very much is, a good looking game. And I know a lot of people thought Crysis 2 looked worse. I don't know. I mean, yes, I would agree that it would have looked better than it did if Crysis 2 was PC exclusive like the first game, but I don't think it looked worse than Crysis 1 did. Okay, some textures were demonstrably lower resolution than in Crysis 1, but if you're not shoving your face up against a brick wall, and looking at the game overall, I think Crysis 2 looks better. But Crysis 3, on the other hand, pixel for pixel looks better than either Crysis 1 or Crysis 2, and there is no arguing that. I mean, human faces in this game are the best I've ever seen. That's probably because they only had to make, like, what, 5 of them, because everyone but the main characters wear masks? But still, the faces you do see are extremely high quality.
Claire.
God, Michael. What a day. We lost some good people. I was trying to contact Dane when... What the... Oh no. No.
Claire, this is Prophet, my CO from...
Look at the modifications, Michael! Is it Seth? Cell? Is it even human? Have we been sacrificing good people for that mutation?
Look.
This is not just a suit, Michael.
A lot of people also didn't like the more linear approach taken by Crysis 2, being set in New York, as compared to Crysis 1, which was set on a tropical island. And I think Crytek came up with a really good compromise to appeal to both styles of gameplay. The game is still set in New York, but what with it being post-apocalypse and everything, nature has reclaimed the city and essentially mashed the first 2 games together. And like I said, this game is beautiful. There's a sort of wondrous appeal to seeing everything we know being smashed to bits and covered in grass and trees, and it reminds me of that one NBC show, Revolution. The levels themselves consist of both the open-ended sprawling take-your-own-approach style levels from the first game, and the fairly linear but still kind of not style from the second game. And that works to the game's advantage, to keep the game constantly interesting and mix up the way you approach a particular level. But speaking of your approach, my advice for you is to figure out what kind of playstyle suits you best, and pick a difficulty level reflecting that. For example, if you are a run-and-gun kind of person, do not play this game on anything other than normal mode, because the enemies will quickly turn you into Swiss cheese in the time it takes for you to pull your gun out. But if you're going for a more stealthy style of gameplay, do not play this game on anything other than hard mode, because what is an average difficulty for stealth gameplay on hard mode is a walk in the park on easy or normal mode. And speaking of which, Crytek have added several new weapons to cater to both styles of play. For the running gunner, they've added the Typhoon, a gun that supposedly fires 500 bullets a second from its 10 barrels, according to Prophet himself.
The Typhoon fires 500 rounds a second.
But in actuality only fires 500 in 3 seconds, as I decided to test here. And for the stealth enthusiast, like myself, they've added the Predator Bow, which has several different ammo modes and can be fired in cloak without a loss of suit energy. Speaking of which, almost all the gameplay is brought over from Crysis 2, but there are some new features. The nanosuit now does not use energy while sprinting. You can now hack things like enemy turrets and Ceph pingers to fight on your side, and instead of using dead Ceph nanocatalysts to upgrade your suit, you find upgrade modules hidden around the map. So this increases the badassness of the nanosuit by at least 2 points. I mean, you are using the nanosuit 3.0 now, not the old 2.0. Now that I think about it, how did the nanosuit update itself? That must have been very interesting for Prophet in the middle of cryostasis. 1,500,952 bottles of beer on the wall. Oh, God. What? If I want to install a nanosuit update. Sure. Okay, can anything help me escape? No. Well, back to counting. Where's that? This day could not get any worse. 1 bottle of beer on the wall. 1 bottle of beer. And as in the previous Crysises, they are known for realistic gunplay handling that feels weighty and fun to use. The Typhoon makes an incredibly satisfying sound that you'd expect from a gun that fires 166.666 bolts a second, and landing a hit on someone with a bow produces an oh-so-satisfying thwack that can even nail enemies to walls. Unfortunately, less attention to detail has been afforded to the enemies themselves. Aside from a few new Ceph, like the Stalkers, which look for all the world like alien kabutopses, and what is essentially a flamethrower on legs, every enemy is freshly imported from Crysis 2. And don't get me wrong, murdering them is still as fun as ever, but I would really have liked to see some new dudes to murder, you know? And tonight on the 10 o'clock news, do video games induce violence in children? Some prick on the internet answers the question for us. And don't get me wrong, murdering them is still as fun as ever, but I would really have liked to see some new dudes to murder, you know? And after that, more blatant lies and shitty reporting. This is Fox News. Also, I can't help but feel the bow is a little overpowered. And by little, I mean it kills enemies in one hit. And you don't lose any energy whatsoever after firing it in cloak mode. It's completely silent, and you can have explosive and electrified arrows for any situation. So just a bit overpowered. The game does try to hamper this, as arrow crates are few and far between, but as long as you're diligent about picking them up again, you'll never run out of arrows. Now there are 2 ways I can see to solve this problem. You can either A, make it take 2 arrows to kill an enemy, like in multiplayer, so that the NPCs have time to react, or B, give each arrow a limit to how many times it can be used before it breaks, a la Minecraft. Of course, you only want to use one or the other, not both, or the bow just won't be useful anymore. So I've been hyped for this game ever since Crytek first announced it, but does it live up to my incredibly high expectations? No. But is it fun? Yes. But would I recommend it? The gameplay is solid, the graphics are impressive, and the nanosuit is a joy to use as always, and the open-ended levels are the icing on the cake. But the enemies are exactly the same as in Crysis 2. The story and characters are pretty good, but they have to throw a lot of the logic and continuity under the bus to get to that point. The bow is completely overpowered, and for me the game clocked in at about 5 hours, which is at least 2 to 3 hours less than Crysis 2. But if you're invested in the Crysis series and want to see how it all wraps up, or you want a reprieve from your boring, modern, everyday FPS, definitely check out Crysis 3. Well, that's about it for me. Thank you very much for watching my review of Crysis 3, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna get this dang nanosuit off. It won't come off! No! No! No!
Sir, the buttons?
Oh. Thanks, Megaplex. See you next time. Later. Hey guys, just want to say thanks for watching this video, and, you know, if you like Crysis, I did a review of the multiplayer, which you can find linked on the screen right before your beautiful eyes. Or I also did a Let's Play of Crysis 3, which is currently ongoing, so you can watch me fail miserably at stealth. Or, you know, watch some of my other Let's Plays, like System Shock 2, or check out my website, thecyborg.com. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.